I've lost 50 pounds, and that will be the last time I say that. I've gained the weight back too many times for me to remember, but this time is different, and I cannot and will not ever be this way ever again for the rest of my life. I can only speak for myself, but you might have been or are actively in the same situation as me. You want to lose the weight, you lose the weight, but you end up going back to your bad habits. Either you've been there yourself or you know someone who has, and you're thinking to yourself how you could stick with it. And that's what I'm here to tell you today. For me, I could confidently say that this is the final time, because it's not just how I'm feeling, feelings come and go, but how I'm actively building routines and shutting down my own excuses by holding myself accountable in several ways. One of those ways is literally documenting it, which we'll get to, but the biggest and most fundamental change I've made were all boiled down to how I structure my day-to-day, my week-to-week. Now let me explain. My starting weight was over 350 pounds. I say over 350 pounds because when I started losing weight, I didn't have a scale available to weigh in the first couple of weeks. And if you're fat, you kind of know you'd rather avoid the numbers than deal with it while you're binging and eating away. Now, I've tried and succeeded at losing weight multiple different times before. Different diets like keto, different approaches like meal prepping, but I wasn't able to stick to them. Why? Because I've never had the foundation to stand on when times got tough. For example, we all get motivated whether it's weight related or not, and motivation is a hell of a feeling to get you to do what it is you're striving for. But a lot of people, including myself, don't account for when that tank hits E and you're running on fumes and got nowhere to go. Keto. All I was thinking about was all the good stuff I couldn't eat anymore. And even though I was motivated to push through, ultimately, circumstances led me into an environment where I was only surrounded by bad eating choices. Motivation only lasted so long and my old habits kicked in to replace it. Same goes for meal prepping. I lack variety, and don't get me wrong, I could put away the same meal for a solid few months. I'll stick it out, but I don't know who's gonna tell you other than me that I don't like doing the dishes, that I don't like cooking, and I sure as hell don't like washing no goddamn dishes. Now, does this make me a lazy sack of one could possibly draw that conclusion, but you can't tell me other people don't feel similarly. And that's what I mean. Yes, I was addressing the obvious parts of my health by swapping the foods that helped me lose weight, but did I keep thinking that it would work itself out? The mental side was something I'd never taken account for, and that's what was secretly plotting against me to take me down every single time. But as of about 40 days ago, as of the time of this recording, I started again. And as of last week, I'm officially down 50 pounds again, which, mind you, is the most weight I've lost before going back to my old ways. But here's the important part. I'm not doing anything extreme. I've been doing the most boring, relaxing, stress-free, pain-free, washing dishes-free method you could possibly think of. I just walk. And this concept isn't new, both in general and to me. I understand that. If you're looking for weight loss content, one of the most underrated yet repeated lines is just to walk more. But I've incorporated walking every single time I've lost the weight and gained it back. What has changed and why is it working this time around? My internal philosophy has made a drastic shift from being fueled by motivation to being operated by discipline. The identity shift I've made with myself in order to create this version of me who's not looking for a reason to get up and go and instead just goes has been a work in progress, but progress either way. And I truly believe that this chapter I get to finally close on my overweight arc because it finally clicked. And to be completely honest, I didn't even expect it to work this fast. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I stopped seeing myself as someone who's trying to lose weight and started identifying in the person I always knew I've been, the athletic and more grounded version of myself. You might be thinking you can't relate because you might not have grown up playing sports like I did or at the level to consider yourself as one. But if you think that, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong to think that way, because this isn't a job application where you need prior experience to get the role of quote-unquote athlete. If you are somebody who sets out to improve yourself physically day in and day out, you are an athlete, and a version of you that you have always dreamed of is already showing that. You don't have to lose the 20, 50, 80, 100 pounds or whatever it may be to consider yourself an athlete. If you aren't sitting on the couch munching chips and rotting away, the version that you are hoping you'll become once you shed the weight off is already the same version of you that is driving you to go on that walk or to go to the gym. The realization you have to make is this: the second you make that small decision every time you do what makes you accomplish your fitness goal for the day, that version of you is no different whether it is day 1 or day 1000. And moving with that identity will stop having you choose motivation as the primary reason to do things, because if you move with that mindset, doing things for the sake of doing it, discipline takes over and changes your life. My actions match my identity, and my actions allow me grace, which is important to sticking with it. Just because I'm an athlete doesn't mean I can't eat ice cream, have the bag of chips, or have the cheeseburger when I feel like it. But because I'm an athlete, I'll make sure I hit my daily step goal even when it's raining. I don't make small excuses to myself that stop me from doing the bare minimum. I don't have a gym membership at the moment, but if I were to go and it happened to be closed, that isn't a reason for me to skip out on that day. Either I'm finding another gym or I'm working out outside. Simple inconveniences won't shape my outcome because excuses will stop me from reaching the next level. And that's all it is at the end of the day. Either I didn't plan well enough to take into account that the gym was closed or that it truly was out of my control. Either way, life is full of inconveniences that we don't take account for, and that doesn't stop you from living. So the same reason should apply to your fitness routine. I also stop overcomplicating food. I don't follow strict macros. I don't follow a specific diet. I do intermittent fast and usually skip breakfast as a result, and I do try and get as much protein in as I can. But restricting is not something that has worked long term for me, which should have been obvious when I go back to the idea of realizing your identity. It's not like I was restricting my diet when I was playing sports. I was highly active and I ate more moderately back then, so that's the same plan I'm going with and sticking to. So that means I don't punish myself for having something I enjoy. If I want something sweet, I'll have it, but something I like doing is finding alternative options that are either lower calorie or something different that also satisfies that craving. Just taking the time to research if there's something better for me that tastes just as good is a fun little game I'm trying to get in the habit in, because Ben & Jerry's being over 1,200 calories for a pint is criminal. But the point I'm trying to drive home is either way, if I get the Ben & Jerry's or not, it's something I'll take into account then dismiss entirely. I think it's also important to highlight what I've stopped doing. I've talked about it a little bit, but perfectionism will be your biggest downfall. The faster you realize that, the faster you'll succeed. The perfect diet doesn't exist. The perfect workout plan doesn't exist. Perfect foods don't exist. Never having an off day doesn't exist. Never wanting to give up doesn't exist. These are all things or emotions that will come to pass sooner or later. And you have to be honest with yourself and know that you are not a robot. Which nowadays that actually might be 50-50, but for those of us who aren't powered by zeros and ones, you will come to experience not wanting to do it. Having a foundation to fall back on is just as important to have the discipline to persevere. Just make the necessary adjustments to make sure you're still standing on your own 2 feet and then go. Don't fall down and never get back up. Okay, don't gain weight and never think you can never lose it again. Reassess the situation, be honest with yourself to know what's been holding you back, and then just start. Don't wait for motivation because we don't need that anymore. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Full transparency, some days I don't want to go on my walks. And every now and then I end up going, but maybe for only half the time I was looking for. And that's completely fine because making an effort and staying consistent is exactly what we're looking for. As long as you don't completely give up because you weren't perfect with it, is all you could ask for. And I like to think the days you don't feel like doing it matter the most. Those are the only days I count. The old version of me would have just quit. And any day I could beat the old me is a good day. So 50 pounds down, what's changed physically? I don't feel that different, which is no surprise, and I was expecting that. I've got a lot of weight to lose, so I'll check back with you in the next 50. But even though I don't feel any different, there are a couple signs I'm noticing. Just everyday activities like walking feel easier than it was before. Little stuff like that where you know the work you're putting in is having a big impact is a good indicator. I also feel like I have a bit more energy throughout the day, which is great since I don't drink caffeine. All in all, if you're at the beginning or if you failed multiple times like I have, all I can tell you at this point is just start. It doesn't matter if it's your first time or your 10th. You have to give yourself a chance to change. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I love you if you're real or even if you're just a pile of zeros and ones. So on that note, I'll see you in the next video.